Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. My track guide for the F4 going around Misano. This is with the fixed setup and it is with 58.9 in the brake bias. So let's get into it. Qualifying, we want to be on the left side of the track and we want to utilize all of the available room out here. As long as we have one set of wheels on the red and white curbing, we won't get a 1x. I brake about a car length before the 50 board here on the left. We want to turn in and cut all of the inside curb just as we have here, coming out on the right side of the track for turn 2. When I start to brake, I aim for about 80% brake pressure, easing that off all the way to the inside curb of turn 1. You can apply a little bit of throttle once you're on this inside curb, but you don't need to be on it for long. We do have to brake a little bit for turn 2, and for that I don't have a clear braking marker, but we want to set it up so we cut the curb just as we did with turn 1, because after turn 2 we have a long time with wide open throttle. But for the brake I have a quick hit to about 40% brake pressure, and easing that off all the way to the inside curb, before I start to apply the throttle again once on the curb. As I said, we need a good exit here, so I'm easing in the throttle just a little bit. And now we cut turn 3 as much as we can, staying as close as we can to the white line to drive as few meters as possible. For turn 4, we need to get all the way up on the curb, and my braking marker is when the grass here on the left starts. Then I aim for about 65% brake pressure and easing that off all the way to the curb on the inside. Here we want to have the car turned as much as possible when turning in, because we want to quickly get on the throttle again, since 5 and 6 is more or less flat out. Don't be too aggressive with the throttle, it's really easy to understeer away for turn 5. Make sure to cut the inside of turn 5 as much as possible without lifting off the throttle again. And of course we want to cut turn 6 as well. For turn 6 we can go up on the green and white curbing, it doesn't sacrifice anything. And of course use as much space on the outside as you need. Now we want to point the car towards the braking zone for turn 7, and we do that to drive as few meters as possible. You can try and overtake into turn 7, but after turn 10 we have quite a long straight where people might try and attack back on you. Keep that in mind before overtaking into turn 7. I brake just about 2 car lengths after the white line here on the right. When I start to brake, I go to about 75% brake pressure, easing that off all the way to the curb on the inside. I don't cut this curb at all, so I'm just using the white line on the inside. Once we get to the curb, we will start to apply the throttle again. There's quite a lot of load on the car, so I am easing in the throttle again, just to make sure I don't run wide on the exit. You can use the outside curb, but just make sure to keep one wheels within the red and white curbing. Turn 9 we sacrifice for a better entry into turn 10, so I don't get close to the inside curb at all. My braking marker is the raised curb here on the right. Once I get to that, I go to about 75% brake pressure, easing that off to just before the curb. Just before the curb, I let the car roll into the corner, cutting just the red and white part of the curb. Once I'm on that curb, I'll start to apply the throttle again. We do want a really good exit out of turn 10 here, as we're going to be wide open throttle for quite a long time. And of course, let the car walk out naturally where it wants to. Now it's a drag race all the way down to turn 13, and here people might try and overtake you with draft, because both 11 and 12 is flat out. Turn 11 we will cut as much as possible, but turn 11, just like turn 9, we will sacrifice for a better entry into turn 14. I don't have a good clear braking marker for turn 13, but this is just about where I start to brake. It is just about in the middle of the 2 white lines on the green part of the AstroTurf. Once I start to brake, I go to about 35% brake pressure, easing that off all the way to the curb on the inside, and we want to cut this inside curb just as much as we did on turn 11. Once I'm past the curb, I'll start to apply the throttle again, but we're not that long on the throttle because we have to brake for turn 14. My braking marker is the white line here on the right. Once I get to that, I go to about 70% brake pressure, and we're easing that off all the way to the curb on the inside as well. And of course again, we want to cut this curb as much as we can. We want a good exit as well because we are wide open throttle all the way down to turn 16. So I'm easing in the throttle once I get on the curb, because it's really easy to spin here. And I got over to just about mid-track for turn 15, cutting all of the curb again here for turn 15, ending up on the right side of the track. I keep the white line in the middle of the car to help open up turn 16 a little bit. Once the white line starts to get wider, once I'm on top of that, I'll start to brake. A quick hit to about 70%. You don't want to take too much speed out of the car, because we're going onto a straight just after. I'm cutting a lot of curb on the inside. I'm even using the raised green and white part. Once I'm on that curb, I'll start to apply the throttle again, because we have quite a lot of room here with the outside curb, so we want to maximize our exit speed. And that's my lap around Misano in the FIA F4 of a time of 1 minute 35.1. I have more track guides for the F4 linked down below. Hopefully you found this one useful. If you did, leave a like down below. Consider subscribing as well. Now for the uninterrupted hot laps.